Hello, everybody. So I'm Marshmallow, and I'll take pictures after this is over. I just didn't bring my white cap, so I think you're going to get the unseen.
I'm Run BGP.
There we go.
So I make the internet go. You're welcome.
So we're here about to talk about cloud. Clearly not as exciting as following the chain smokers. So we may have to pay people to stay. But we will take selfies at the end, and if we can get more selfies than them, we're going to post it. I'm going to let Avi introduce himself, and I'll introduce my second, but Avi, please.
Hi, I'm Avi Friedman, CEO and one of the founders of a company called Kentik. I have been in infrastructure for a long time. I started the first internet provider in Philadelphia back 1992 with modems and things like that, and run a SaaS company called Kentik that is based in the cloud.
And I'm Andy Steuerman. I'm vice chair of Golub Growth. And for those less familiar with Golub Growth, we are a leading provider of debt and equity capital to rapidly growing businesses, mostly B2B software companies. We've been around for a very long time, even though I'm introducing you to this crowd. We've invested in over 110 companies and put out over $12 billion. And very good companies, including Avi's company, and we're here to talk about cloud. And I think we're going to try to add some new twists to cloud because there's, with all the news that's going on with AI and all the need for space and power and cloud, I think we're very, very on topic. So Avi, I think it'd be helpful for this audience if you give them an overview of Kentik and why this is a really relevant topic for this point in time.
Sure. So Kentik is a SaaS company that does observability. We take infrastructure telemetry from on-prem, cloud, internet, all the things that have to make the revenue of companies go and people be productive. When we started, things were a little bit more cloud over here and on-prem over here. Now it's all one big hybrid mesh that people have to be responsible for to make their businesses go. Cloud is just other people's computers and storage and network, but with weird names and APIs and things like that. And making it all work and helping CFOs who control a lot of the processes even more now see the value is even bigger deal than it was 10 years ago.
Well, look, as an investor, and I follow this closely, in the last few years, every tech company's been told to reduce their burn and increase their profitability. And with your emphasis on optimizing resources and lowering the cost of infrastructure, for those who want specifics and really are looking how you do that, because everyone's looking to lower their cost and increase their profitability, how does your company help all types of companies do that?
So the infrastructure, especially in the cloud, what used to be tickets and people going somewhere and racking things has become APIs and easy ability to request almost infinite infrastructure capacity. People see TechCrunch articles probably every month about the $4 million bill and the phone bill and the cloud bill delivered on a UPS truck and how easy it is to go over. The network componentry in cloud, AWS, really pretty much everybody in the cloud space charges probably 30 times what the wholesale cost of bandwidth is. So that adds up to a really big number if you're doing cloud migration, especially outbound, if you're inter-cloud, hybrid cloud, if you're serving large peaks and bursts, even if you have content delivery networks, CDNs like Akamai or Cloudflare in front. So by taking all the data, organizing it, showing people insights and saying, hey, you're on trend to blow your budget. Here's where you could optimize your infrastructure. Specifically, we deal with the network side of it. And on your own infrastructure, auditing bills and understanding how to most optimally get to cloud. Those are all things that we do for the CFOs. We have a service provider business where we actually help people understand the cost of delivering service. And the deal desk, if people are in sales, the deal desk says, hey, can I make 5 cents, or am I going to lose 5 cents per banana, we call it megabit per second, but per unit, Kentik gets involved in that too.
So I know about your company, and if I go to your website, it talks about network management. Mm-hmm. And I think about it as if people were driving cars without proper roads, signs, streets, and there would be chaos. Mm-hmm. And in a network, there could be chaos. So you're really important in that network ecosystem. And I'm sure you have competition. But what is your competitive advantage, and how do you innovate that people who are really trying to understand where all their data, all the information, really on real-time, low latency, and manageable, how do you differentiate yourself from other people who may claim to do network management?
Well, there's really three things. It's changed a little bit. We're a 10-year-old company. We were not on a stage here 10 years ago, but were we on one 10 years ago, it would have been about data management, keeping everything. We came up with, for the nerds, a column store and streaming database that let us store everything and be very efficient, so you didn't need to know what questions you wanted to ask, which Charity Majors has really defined as, as one of the principles of observability. By 5 years ago, we have workflows. If you want to audit your bills or figure out capacity planning or figure out who's being attacked and what to sell them, those are all things we build in the product, just like you go to Datadog to deal with your systems or Dynatrace to go deal with your apps. You go to Kentik to go deal with your workflows for the human automation side of it. And now it's AI as for everyone, but we actually have all the data. And data is what's needed to make AI effective. And what people just want to know is what's broken, what should I do about it? And eliminating the bullshit predictions that people call hallucination by actually leveraging data and the graph of what's what. That's what we work on now.
Well, it's 2024, and if we want to get people interested, we have to use the word AI. Just say it. Okay, we're going to talk about AI now. So now we'll have everybody come back in the room because we're going to talk about AI. But that's really important, and I know you don't work on learning. Kentik doesn't have learning models. But everyone's looking for the picks and the shovels, right? How do I play AI? And everybody wants to be around AI. So you're integrating AI into your business and into your platform. So help people understand how you're using AI, both how you're helping AI for those who use AI tools, and how you're integrating AI into your business and how it's helping you. So we need our AI moment.
Well, we have 300 service providers, and some of them are like, eyeball networks that don't sell co-location and all that, but we have about 100 customers that, including some of the pure AI co-location providers and people who run network, and obviously if you can't feed the brain, then it'll go insane. So, running the infrastructure, making sure that the high bandwidth feeding of the brains works, that's at the base. For us, AI is really just something you need to do. And I won't really talk about what we do as a company because we use marketing tools and sales tools and legal tools and all the SaaS wonderness that we need to run the SaaS backend of the infrastructure. And that's all about optimizing people. And then for our own platform, it's about how do we leverage AI techniques to, as I said, give people better insights, possible causes, remediations, things like that. And for that, really the insight is generative AI. I mean, we've done traditional machine learning for a long time. Most people in the observability space have. Generative AI can be wonderful, but if you don't check it against the state of what reality is, using the data and map of the world that you have, whether it's application or network in our case, you're going to get things that humans can't rely on. And so for us, people have always said, wake me up, tell me if there's something important, I need to deal with it. And AI just lets us do that even better as long as we made it with everything we've already built that knows the state of the world.
Well, let me switch gears a little bit because we're the capital side of this, and we've watched you grow. And in many cases, companies like yours that need to grow need capital to grow, right? Most startups require capital to grow, and Kentik's been successful. And you've chose to partner with our firm on both a debt and equity solution, which is very different than what most people recommend, where they say, keep going larger and larger rounds of equity. But the market's been tough for the last few years. How have you successfully navigated, raising capital in the market, especially because it's been tough for the last couple of years?
So, generally speaking, you need to build a company that is growing, that has good gross margin, that has enthusiastic customers that are upselling, that is heading to the point, which we don't right now, where you have 6 quarters of visibility so you can go public. And although I guess there's some companies that don't think you ever need to go public, at some point people want liquidity. So, that's always the goal. And then how you leverage that is always an interesting question. In the beginning of the pandemic, I had 4 conferences. I lived a couple blocks from here. I had 4 conferences in February and one of them was with, an investor that wound up, like you, doing debt and equity with us. Probably before that, our VCs would have pushed more against it, but as the world became more complex, it seemed to make sense. And it's also very difficult for founders because I don't know, raise your hand if you've read more than 10 articles on dissecting a term sheet, an equity term sheet. I certainly have, right? Debt, it just isn't out there, right? There's books for bankers and books. It's really hard, with whether it was SVB early on or more with fund debt. As you get larger and as you're tens of millions of ARR, as you have a good gross margin as you're growing, people will make you offers for generally 5-year of interest-only balloon financing you can decide to leverage on and use with VC. Sometimes it can be difficult depending on your investors because, I don't know, I guess there's some VCs in the room. VCs are generally like zombies. Either they are completely uninterested or they smell blood and then they all come. So if they want some of your company, they want the maximum they can get, which means please don't take debt. Then there's debt folks that argue, oh, well, you should take as much debt as possible because then you are minimizing dilution. And I think the truth is somewhere in between, right? So especially, as you said, when the market is a little bit more uncertain, you don't want to delay, you don't want to maybe only grow on debt unless you're already ready to be profitable, but you can use it as a mix. So always thought, it's at least good to think of when you're next raising and the buffer that you want after that against rainy day, that amount is generally good, to have as debt, and that's true for early to later stage. And then also debt can be used if you think that there's accretive acquisitions that you can make, meaning you could buy something and it could pretty quickly add to the bottom line or at least the EBITDA line. And so we've done a mix. It's been probably half and half over the last few years. And next year, we'll probably raise a larger, more pure equity round. And then we'll probably keep some of the debt. I've also seen generally the growth stage investors we talk to are more comfortable with and familiar with, even not 300 million ARR companies, but companies on the way to 100 million, having a little bit of leverage and using debt some. So.
And for the VCs in the room or people who invest, we're talking about DPI. How do you return money to investors, which is a big topic. Mm-hmm. And there's been few exits, not as much. The IPO market hasn't been great. The M&A market hasn't been great. But
that's picking off.
But how do you think about exit? I know it's not on your near-term horizon, but how do you think about it? And how do you position your company thinking about an exit?
I'm a purist. I really think that if you get too focused on exit and specific companies, you wind up screwing yourself. I mean, you just make bad decisions that are limiting your optionality. So if you think about it as, I want to build great products with great employees for great customers in big markets and execute well, then good things will happen. Statistically, we all know, even though it's not polite to talk about exit to an investor, certainly VCs, we know it's much more likely that you will, in the many tens of millions of dollars of ARR, like our company, you're probably not going to go out of business. So then it's vastly more likely that you'll get acquired than that you'll go public. But I think thinking about it as being an independent, enduring technology company drives the right behaviors. And it doesn't hurt that 10 of our potential acquirers are customers. But we don't partner with them. We don't go seek them as customers. It's just, who do we partner with that has 1,000 people that could be million ARR customers for us? And then again, maybe good things will happen. But just build the business and focus that way.
So just ending and just give people personal, if they haven't figured it out, Avi is a professional poker player besides being the CEO of Kentik. And that has a lot of, you have to adapt, you have to have skills, you have to have strategy. And for AI, we talked about AI earlier, and many in this room will think about challenges with the analytics. Mm-hmm. How do you see the world of analytics shaping up, putting on, risk, return, how you reading things, and how should this group out there think about that?
I just think as people build analytics and select vendors, the challenge is, sort of the prior generation, the current generation where people are leaders, is when you know what question you want to ask or presenting the data for humans to drive it. Where AI is going to really help is being more proactive, saying, here are the questions you should ask, here are the insights you should ask. And we're still going to need the humans. I mean,
So we won't be replaced next year?
No. I mean, we're at the level of precocious 12-year-old, and we'll get to precocious 14-year-old. It's like, people that will drive off a cliff because Google tells them to. I mean, you have to use your bullshit detector. I mean, ultimately, that's what using AI is you have to good bullshit detector. So systems challenge your vendors to say, are you reducing my work by showing me how I should use your platform, or what questions I should ask and how I get value? And that's, I think, the challenge for everyone building SaaS and analytics.
Well, next year I may be financing nuclear facilities, as everybody needs electric power, so.
Well, don't laugh. I mean, that's happening right now. 3 Mile Island's getting turned on so Microsoft can have some AI. I mean, it's all architecture and computers is becoming important.
And how do you think, how should, I guess, leaving this on the hybrid? So for hybrid solutions, does the concern over power, the concern over using your data, because it looks like the world's moving more to hybrid. AWS is not going to own the world, Google's not going to own the world. So how does this all fit in with hybrid solutions?
It seems to be the new normal. I mean, pretty much every enterprise that we work with, unless they're a service provider where they might have a cloud offering, but they're running everything on-prem, or we have some customers that are all in cloud, but people, especially if they still have offices and plants and things like that, they're living in a hybrid world, and so they just want to do it effectively. It's all the things that people complained about that drove going to cloud, like IT and long time to provision, also help you control cost, because you know what you're provisioning and you're not turning up random stuff. So we actually see the well-understood things tend to get optimized, sometimes back into on-prem, and the exploratory new things that need to be facing the internet and cloud. And I think that does help the power budget, the eco-friendly goals that companies have, and the bottom line also.
Great. Well, Avi, thank you very much for joining me out here. We're ready for those who saw the last group take their selfies, we're ready.
Or we have time for questions if there are any, but I don't know if we have the forum. But no questions? Okay.
No questions. They tapped us out on time. The chain smokers took our time.
Okay.
So we're going to sing and dance our way out. Unless you want to take selfies with us. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good show.
Thank you.